Are you okay? You look a little queasy, Gaff. It's not really something that happens to undead, you know. Oh, I see. Sorry, it must be unsettling to be riding in a walking carriage. Yeah, I don't always reanimate full corpses. The legs on this carriage came from a couple of dead trolls I came across. The upper bodies weren't in good enough condition for reanimation purposes after a pack of dire wolves got to them. So I just made use of what was left. Oh, it looks pretty creepy, I know, but it's really useful. Corpses aren't often left on the side of well-maintained roads for very long, so having a carriage that can handle any terrain is necessary for my work. The good news is, you don't have to ride much longer. There's my home up ahead. Yeah, I know. A necromancer living in old ruins. Who would have guessed? But there's a reason for that, though. Places that have seen a lot of death can amplify a necromancer's power. Not to mention all the free homes down below the surface. Oof, so convenient. This place was a fortress of some kind once, totally impervious to attacks. From what I can tell, but, well, they weren't all prepared for a simple mudslide to toss the whole thing down the mountainside. Well, I didn't plan to leave it in a big pile of rubble, of course. Once I have the workforce for it, we'll rebuild. Even after all these years, the stone is pretty high quality, so we'll be able to have a pretty sturdy base. For now, I've found a few chunks that are pretty much intact. That's where we'll be staying. What's wrong? Second thoughts. About what? Living? It's not that bad. Is it? I didn't think the living conditions mattered. The deal I offered you, I gave to 4 other people. 3 accepted life happily, and 1 decided they'd rather be dead than serve someone else. You're the only one who cared whether or not your second chance at life was going to be comfortable. Sorry. I did say that I wanted you to follow your own free will. I just wished I had known beforehand that you had conditions. I wish I could tell you that you could just leave anytime you like and be free, but your choices are pretty much this or death. Your body would be torn to pieces and stitched back together again. You wouldn't be able to survive without regular infusions of my magic. If you don't stick around, you'd be dead again in a month. I know, it's a really tough break, Gaff. Nothing about your current situation is even remotely fair, but people don't always get what they deserve. In fact, it's pretty rare. You have to take the options that are put in front of you. See? That's the spirit. And I promise, your living conditions are going to improve a lot in the future. My other whites are out recruiting more followers to help with the reconstruction efforts. Like I said, there are 3 others, and I think 4 is a good number for now. Someday I might train you in stitching and reanimation, but for now, I think the others have it covered. I've got a different job in mind for you. Well, you're an adventurer, right? That means you're the only white I have with any combat experience. Well, maybe, but a novice is better than nothing. I need you to be my general. Well, general is a bit generous at the moment. Those guards that you can see up ahead are all I have as far as armed forces go. Relax. I can conjure spirits, so I can get you all kinds of great teachers. But a spirit can't exactly lead the undead, I'm afraid. It has to be you. Believe me, I wouldn't put you in charge of anything if I didn't trust you. You died trying to be stronger than you were. That means, to me, you have ambition. But you've also learned a very powerful lesson in caution. Combined all that with your pedigree, it makes you a promising leader. Hey, trying is all that I ask. I'm sure you'll do great. Well, we're here. Let's get out and get you set up. Oh, hang on. I wanted to give you an examination to see how your body's holding up. You haven't done much to stress it yet, but I could have made a mistake somewhere along the line. Here, let me inspect the stitches first and see how they're holding. Mostly good. Although this one that runs over your shoulder looks like it's pulling at the skin a bit. You're missing quite a bit of skin there, so I think that what's left is being stretched too much. It'll be fine for right now, but sometime tonight I should give you a skin graft and redo the stitches to ease that tension. How's your leg treating you? Well, both, I suppose, but I'm mostly interested in the one that's all bone right now. Can't exactly hurt, you can't feel pain anymore, but are you having problems with it? Is it moving how you want to? That's good. The limb probably won't go away, but you'll learn to live with it. For an undead, you're actually pretty limber. How about your left arm? Are you adjusting to the prosthetic? Great. I'm hoping that someday I'll be able to give you a functioning hand, but for now, stitching undead parts from one person onto another leads to complications. It's been done before, I just need to figure out the secret myself. And lastly, your innards. No point in opening you up to look, but does everything feel okay in there? Oh yeah, the coldness is normal. The last of your blood is being filtered out through the bile sac. The bile keeps you warmer, so as more of it moves from your core to your limbs, it feels like your core is cooling down. Otherwise, all normal? Yeah? Great. I'm gonna need to give you regular checkups. Without the ability to feel pain, it'll be a little harder for you to know if you've been damaged in any way, so I'm sure you'll understand. Now, any questions about your duties? Oh, I never did tell you what my goal was, did I? I guess that's kind of important. Well, do you remember the Bewildering Woods? I'm sure most adventurers have, yourself included. Right. Considered the ultimate challenge. A huge expanse of cursed forest that's easy to get lost in, full of monsters that almost nobody has ever made it out of there alive. Well, it's a huge problem. On this side of the forest, it's just a simple geographic barrier like any other, a lake or mountain. You just go around it, but there is a small nation on the other side named Gelv that's nestled into a nook in that forest, surrounded by the bewildering woods on almost all sides, with only an exit to the north. On paper, great defense. Like, there's no doubt about it. They don't have to worry about attacks from anywhere except that one narrow pass. But it also makes it easy to lay siege to the entire country. And sure enough, that's what's happening. A rival nation has plans to block off that path, and Gelv is too weak to do anything about it. They have the means to feed themselves for now, but over the coming years, it's going to become harder and harder for them to get out or to get by without being able to trade with other nations. Eventually, they'll have to give up all of their land with barely a fight. Suffering not in shouting, but with whispers. I want to stop that from happening by forging a path through the bewildering woods. If they can get resupplied from the other side, then that's no problem. It's a big task. I know. Even getting one person in and out is almost impossible. To say nothing of making a safe and reliable trade route. But that's the great thing about necromancy. The more dangerous the location, the more powerful I am, and the more raw materials there is at my disposal. The plan is to build up a sizable army of high-quality undead, and then start blazing a trail. The undead can guard and patrol the path day and night tirelessly, and as we go further in, we can bolster our ranks with more undead that we find from dead adventurers or even slain monsters. You are going to be incredibly important in all of this. As general, you'll spearhead the whole operation. Eventually, of course. We have a long way to go before we'll have enough undead to start doing that properly. So, how does that sound? Is it at all a bit overwhelming? Yeah, you'd be crazy to not be intimidated. But don't worry, Gaff, I have faith in you. You're going to be an incredible undead general. I just know it. and I'll be here every step of the way. Now, come, let me show you to your rooms. I've set aside a nice chunk of intact building for you. You don't need to sleep anymore, but it's still important to have a place that's all of your own. I really think you're going to learn to love it here. I can't wait for us to work together, Gaff.